Okay, so in this one we're going to use Excel to be able to make a work order that we see there. Okay, so what it basically starts with, and I'm just going to zoom this up to maybe 150 so it's a little larger to see. I kind of look at a form like this and I say, I get it, MWO, a work order. So I look at it, I'm going to kind of stick with what it shows, the work order number. Then I'm just going to leave this box blank. Okay. Now, one of the problems, and then I can do the next field, ACCT, leave it blank, department, leave it blank, unit, leave it blank, service code, and do. And if I shrink that down, we see I've got everything up there. Okay. One of the limitations to the Excel paradigm is it sees everything as rows and columns. So everything below this row, or this column, excuse me, is going to share the same width. I'm kind of stuck with that. Okay. So then we're going to kind of cheat our way around it, and I'm going to look here and say assigned. One of the things I need to do with this then is ask this question. As I'm designing this form, who am I going to plan to fill it out? Will they fill it out on paper, or will they fill it out on the computer? That's going to help me figure out the size. Okay? If I go up here, if you had your own computer, it wouldn't get wiped every day, and you could click on this little customize the shortcut menu, and you could go preview. Now I get this little picture with a magnifier, and I can go preview. So far that's what my form looks like. It's got that little bit, right? And you see it's wrapped. So I'm going to assume people are going to fill this out on the computer. And what was the problem with the preview so far compared to my work order? Is there any problem, or does it fit?
It doesn't have the columns on it?
I don't see do, right? Yeah, where'd that one go? Oh, page 1 of 2. Ta-da, right? So I'm going to hit home, go to page layout, go orientation, say, well, let's make this baby sideways. And we'll hit that. And now it's kind of going what I want, right? Okay. One thing to watch out for is size. Is just how much room is that and what type of number would you be. But we're going to assume this looks good. I kind of find it easier to kind of guess at where things, so I might put right under here assign to. Now what do we have over here? Shift, right? Now that I've started to put some material in there, I'm purposely not been shading it. The problem is shade attached to the cell, and if I cut and paste or move, then it's going to move with it. Okay? Well, what is shading? Well, I can select a range of cells. I can go up here, and I can pick different colors. Okay? So kind of a nice rose, kind of a nice, magenta's coming over. I can do that one. Okay, that was one of the better jokes. Okay. Master, Steve. Oh, Blue's Clue. So now what happens when I made that color, you don't know it, but these lines have kind of disappeared. Okay. So that's one effect of shading. Okay. And what do I want here? I want to make that one white, right? I want this white. So using these, and one other trick I'll say, I usually count how many I go, and then I stay there, because sometimes you can't match the colors. You see earlier it was blue? Well, that's because the cells were selected, and then when I went away, you saw it was actually gray cells. So sometimes it's hard to know what the color is. So I'll just kind of either stick to these top theme colors or the third one down, or whatever works for you. Okay. So now I'm going here, Now I'm going here. Once I pick this, if you look at this wee little picture here, we'll zoom up there. Okay, you can see that this cell, once I pick a color, that little color shows up in there. Okay, so that I can see now anywhere I go, it'll turn blue. Okay, if I want to pick a different color, I use the drop down and I pick white. Now you see, you can't really see the white there, but it's white. Okay, and so if I go back here and pick that, boom, it's white. Okay, so next thing I might do is I kind of like to lay things out. I'm going to go bold, bold. Everything's looking like it might work. This is kind of a weird one that Excel does, is right here. Service code doesn't fit. So if there's nothing in column J, it lets it overtype. But as soon as I put something in, service code 12A, then we don't see the rest of it. So I like to putz a little bit here to see if I've got the right sizes, right? Oh, and see here. How could I bring these grays over? What's a technique? Yeah, control something.
Control D.
Well, D would go down, right? And where you get that from, you're spot on, but sometimes in this mini mode, you don't see all the icons. If we look under the fill, we say to the right. And if you hover there, it'll show you Control R. Okay? So Control R, boom. And then I can just delete do. And how do I turn this clear now? I go up to the little fill that kind of represents a little paint bucket. Okay? And there it is. Now, if we look at our work order, I don't have any lines in here, right? So I'm kind of looking like the work order. We're going to have to deal with some things. Now here, I have a problem. I'm going to take these two and make those my white. And then I'm going to have to just live with this. I've just got to make column A wider. Okay? But let me not make this white here for a moment. Let me just get rid of that, say no fill. How many cells do you see? Two. How many cells do they seem to have here? Just one, right? So when we want to take cells and combine them, like here, if I select these cells and I go up to alignment, again, I'm going to make this big. You have two choices. You could do the flyout and always get all the options. You can do Control 1 and get to that menu as well for any cell information. Or I could go to the merge center, which is where I'm going to go. So I'm going to say take these cells and merge. Now I got one big cell. And there it is. Now, if you look at the cell right now, you see H and 15 are highlighted. It tells you it's a single cell. If I click on this big one, you see its CDE is highlighted, as well as rows 11 through 14. Okay? So, how can I make this go away, this thing I created?
Need the undo.
Yeah, there's this little Sakamochi up here, okay? Technical term, Jeff can translate some of my words for you, okay? Or Control Z. Again, if I wait for the hover, it'll give me the shortcut. Control Z, and once to color, and once to merge. So now I'm good there, okay? So Control Z, that's back to how it was. Okay, so merging cells allow me to connect cells together. There's merge across, merge cells. I always get scared, so I just go in here and select what I want. Okay. So now we take this, whip that over there, and we say, yeah, that looks kind of like that. And assign to. Same thing, I got 2 cells. What do I do now to make them combine? What was it called when we combine them?
Merge.
Merge. What happens when I use it in this half screen format? I lose my little icons, right? So now I'm going to be brave and just hit this. Ooh, I think it did something, right? It combined E and F. We can see that by the gold color, and 3. I'll turn that white. Oh, guess I'll go have to pick the white, right? Now, I don't think this was correct text. What happened to the assign to?
Cell D over.
So cell D, I got to make it wider, right? I select the column by going up to the top, wait for the cursor to change, and drag a little bit. What about shift? Well, I guess that one is fine, right? And then I can go there. Now, does shift belong to this cell or this cell? The one on the right, right? H. What could I do to make that look better?
You could use the paragraph, I don't know if they're considered.
Yeah, paragraph formatting. Yep. Here, this one is aligned to the left, center, right? And now we shift that to the right, and now that's kind of looking better, okay? Now, depending how accurate you want to get, my white cells also have another feature on the example. What do they show?
They have borders.
They have a border, right? So the border tool is here. And if I use the drop-down arrow, I can see all the choices, okay? And I could add a, right? So I've got, go away. So I've got all these borders, bottom border, top, left, right, all borders, outside, thick border, okay? Even one where you can kind of draw, click and go where you want. But for this one, I'm just going to say outside border. And there it is. Now I'm going to go to my print preview. And that's what it kind of looks like. So that's kind of coming in there, right? Okay, so now I can go here, and again, once it's already been selected, it's there. A good way to move is just the tab key, so I can hit tab, 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 right? Go here, go tab, hit the tab 2 times, and hit that. Okay? So that's kind of looking like it. Now you could go to someone with a page layout program. They could make this one form for you, and any changes you'd have to go to the printer and ask them to make it. Or you could make it in Excel and live with a little bit different widths and not have to pay each time you make changes or run somewhere. So that's kind of looking like it. The next one is just called activity. But it seems to go all the way under do. Roughly, and even there. All the way across. Well, we'll just put it here to make it look the same. How do I combine those?
Merge.
Yep. I go merge. Boom. And I go color that and border that. So now it's picking up because I've got some things set how I want them. So I don't have to choose every time from those drop lists. If you do, then that's just what works for you. How do I make this bold?
Control B.
Yeah, Control B, right? or I hover up and hit this little thing. Okay. Complete the services described. Checkout there is no problem, right? Now, I never really finished this. I was just playing with the colors. So I'll just pull this down. And you said it was fill down was Control D. Boom. Activity. At this point, you got two choices. We could take a block of cells and we could merge those. I go merge, make that white, put a box around it, and then when I double click, and we'll just kind of cheat here a little bit. Voila! That's my text. Hopefully Jeff's an easy grader and he calls that good enough. Okay? If he doesn't, what do we have to do here? Well, I'm going to leave it as a cell. And we haven't seen the need because of numbers, but we have other positioning.
Oh, you're doing the white box below the...
Yep, I'm doing this complete. I guess I made it white. No, I'm actually doing this complete. I'm doing this guy.
Oh, you are. Okay.
So I'll make that bold, and I'll get rid of the fill. We go to none, and no fill. Love it. Yeah, okay, isn't that special? We'll ignore that for a moment. We will not let it beat me. It's a computer. Now, what could I do? Well, you might not have looked at these. These decide where the text go. Okay? So I've now aligned it to the top of the cell instead of the bottom. Numbers always go to the bottom. And I put it left alignment. From a previous one, what happened to all my text? I got a lot of text here. It even teased me. It showed it to me for a moment. Now what do I need to do? Well,
Is there a way for it to wrap around?
yeah. And all answers can come from the alignment or the control one. Look at alignment. See this tab? There's numbers for formatting, alignment, font, borders, all sorts of things. Okay? But if we go to alignment, what do we see?
Okay.
Wrap text. Okay? Now, I don't know, let me do something here. Wow. I hit the N key on the keyboard. Whoop, I guess that didn't really hit the end. Now, I ended the sentence with ta-da. Not this ta-da, one with an H. Can you see it there? No. So did you catch that other choice in alignment? It went away. Shrink to fit. Oh, that'll be interesting. And wrap text. Yeah, let's go here. I guess that does fit. So then what I've got to do is undo that. Then I'm just going to have to make this cell merge. This might be kind of interesting. And merge that again. Oh, that's why I don't like these shortcuts. I don't know what they really do. But if I go here and align, I can say I want to merge these cells. Well, Control A. Oh, gadzooks. Select all this. Control X, copy that out, make my box bigger, and I could keep putzing. So, or I could just figure out how to type less. So the problem with this tool is I can't really see how big it is, right? Now, Control Z. Somebody mentioned, what was the other technique?
Text box?
Text box. I go to Insert. I find the thing called Text box. I drag a box out onto the sheet. I paste in my text. Right? I can now grab the little handle they're called, and now I've got my text in there. Okay? So two methods. Either works. The one that I did before, you just have to know how much you're going to type in. And what I did was Control A means select all, and then I copied Control C. You can do that same thing just by using your mouse over the area and doing that. So if you don't know the short codes, that's just how you do it. Right click. Okay. What's next on our form? Oh, and then I can take my text box, it's selected, and I think I can tell my fill color to be none, right? And I can grab my text and make it bold. Okay? We'll ignore the uppercase here. That was just a problem, okay? Now what goes next? How are we going to do this area?
Do it all in one row.
Yeah, I think I can do component, right? And this is the OKs are under about service code. Except now we got the problem. I think I might put it here. Okay, adjust, problem, category. Let's see if I can shrink that a little bit. So I think I'll make this bold, this bold, this bold, this bold. With me on that? Make sense? Okay. I'm going to have to just play with the width so problem gets its own fit. Again, kind of a problem of this. Here, I'm just going to take these and make it one color. Or none, I guess I would say. And now, what do I do here? See, OK is really one column, but what is component action to be required? How do I connect these? Just merge them? Make sense? I'll go alignment, and I'll hit merge. Did that work? Well, kinda. Except, you see, it thinks it's a whole big box. Any thoughts?
You can merge one line at a time.
Oh, I could just do these, right? And merge that. That certainly works, right? And then I could, now, How do I get this 1 to move over a little bit?
Indented of the word.
Ah, yeah, I can't type in spaces but there is this indent button, right? Now, what do you think would happen if I filled down?
Fill all of them?
Yeah, we'll just see what it does. Look at that. All separate cells, right? I obviously don't want 1 drive belts, but it just, you know. Now you don't have to type these words in. I'm doing it just so we can kind of see it. Okay? If I want to go further, I can just take this, fill down, right? And there's 4. Why don't I have to indent these?
There's options already selected.
Yeah, well, actually what happened when I filled down, it copied that format. So that's another speed trick. If you can do it once, then you can apply it to all. Okay? Now what's happening with OK here? Does it look like it needs a tweak?
It's supposed to be the
So we'll put that in the middle. We'll put adjust in the middle. I don't know about problem yet. We'll just kind of see what that does and category. Now I'm going to kind of zoom out just a little bit. If I take these all in a box, let me just pull this down. So I just Control D. Does that look kind of what's over here? We can't do the scroll bar. That's just, there's limits. Now I'm going to go up here and I'm going to pick the thick border. Boom. Now we have a thick border around it. Now I'm going to pick this and say, well, what would happen if I got a thick box border there? Well, that didn't work. What if I go here and say all borders? Boom. That's kind of looking like that, right? So our sheet's kind of taking form. It's kind of looking like it, right? How could I get a box around these? It looks kind of weird.
highlight the whole outside and do a outside border.
Yeah, I could just pick that thick border again, right? And now if I go here, that's looking more like it. Okay. Things I can't do. If you don't like where component is right here, I could insert a new column and push everything over and gray it in to make a narrow little A. Or you can live with it. You say, well, that's close enough. Okay. At this point, I only see a little bit different. I could maybe fill these down, right? I could select, I don't know, maybe these 2 rows here. This is where I don't like not knowing the color, because now I pick the color and I try and guess. Oh, I got it. Oh, now I clobbered my border. What does this dotted line do, Hickey?
And the page.
So that's the end of page, so I know I'm fitting within 1 page, right? So there we've got it. Okay? Make sense? You know? Yeah. Makes sense? And you know, you certainly could go back. You could right click here and say insert. You could right click here and go insert. And you could make a little line that is gray as well as this. Oh, you know, Leave a tender moment alone. I had it right. It was so close. What happened? Why is it on 2 sheets again?
Because you inserted the other column.
The A column threw it off, right? How do I fix this?
Undo.
What's that? Undo? Oh, that is a magic key. Boom. There. Just made a form. Pretty cool. We're using border, shading, merge, right? And alignment properties. Okay? Questions?
Do you want it completely filled in like in the white boxes shown there?
Explain a little bit more.
I guess like the assigned to shift service code.
Just if there's, yeah, they should look like this is filled in. Yeah, you should have the black words there. You don't need the numbers in there like 12A.
No.
Yeah, you're just leaving space for them.
Okay.
Okay. One thing to watch for, white is not the same as blank, but it kind of is. So actually these I could have left blank, no fill. Because if you can see these lines, these little gray lines, you don't have a fill.
Okay.
So the white blocks that out. It's going to look the same over here. Okay. Yeah, so Excel, pretty powerful tool for making stuff. Okay. Any other questions? Seem doable? Yeah. Yeah. And the idea is, you know, any tool you should just know how to use. You shouldn't know only how to go forward with your car. You should know forward, reverse, left, right. Okay. Excel, you should be able to drive this thing and use the alignment, use the border shading. Okay. There's an old term, you know, there's 2 terms. Sizzle sells the steak, right? You know, smear some glitter on your face, around your eyes. What does it do? It just lightens up. When people see things that are really looking sharp, they pay notice, right? So we get a little more dressed up for an interview, right? We get dressed up for a date because we want to get noticed. So being able to do this in Excel looks like a more serious report than, well, here I got some numbers scribbled on something. So that's kind of, it's how we see things, right? So this is an important tool to understand how to make it look.